Funbox. It's the Funbox Podcast. Funbox Podcast. Funbox Podcast. Funbox Podcast. Funbox Podcast. Funbox Podcast. It's the Funbox Podcast and stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fun Box. We are here with you know him as the world's okayest guitar player and singer.
Wow. It sounds so much more serious when you say it like that.
So you're so okay.
I'm okay. Yeah.
Paul Franks.
Whoa. Woo! Yeah. All right.
So Paul Franks music, that's Twitter, Instagram.
Back on Facebook, yeah, too now. And yeah, I think that covers all the bases.
Okay.
There's a website out there that people occasionally look at, but, you know, you can find it all. It's all there.
Yeah, Paul Franks.
Yeah, that dude.
Northern Ohio or just Ohio. You're very prolific
Prolific?
performer.
Well, I appreciate that. I don't know that I would use the word prolific to describe myself, but I'll take it, Rob.
That's like you play a lot, right? Is that what prolific would mean?
Let's see. I just don't know when to say no. How about that?
Yeah, that's it. It's
Hey,
hard.
do you want to play Friday night? Sure. Where's the gig?
Yeah. Like if you haven't seen them, then you just don't go anywhere. You lock yourself inside and you never went anywhere. Otherwise, if you've been to the islands, I'm sure you've caught them.
Yep. I do get out there a little too much sometimes.
Do you how often do you think you play in the summertime? Obviously is more often than not. But like during the week and on the weekends.
Well, I've probably for the last 10 years, it's been 2 to 220 shows a year.
220 shows a year, man.
Yeah.
I think about these big, whatever you call them, bigger bands,
Bands
let's
that are
just say,
touring
let's
the
just
world.
say Guns N' Roses
Okay.
or whatever. They do how long are your sets?
3 hours.
3 hours, and that's every show you do approximately 3 hours.
Pretty much.
And how much time do you have away from playing to like do family time or just learn more songs?
Well, I mean, the stuff you got to make time. You schedule into your schedule. I mean, I have a daughter that's a sophomore at OU this year. I have another daughter who's a senior in high school, so that's kept us quite busy. And I've made time for a lot of stuff. And sometimes those things, the family stuff overrides some of the gig stuff. It doesn't always work out perfectly. I've booked stuff and had to go back, and I hate canceling any gig that I book, but we all know it happens.
Yeah.
You've been doing this a long time too. I think I met you the first time when I was playing with Galen at Rudy's, and that's probably going back to 2009, 2008 maybe. Might have been tail end of 2007.
Something like that. Yeah.
So I've known you that long, and but yeah, the family time is the stuff that we try to make a mark to say, okay, we're going to do this now, and here's the time we're going to do it. Summertime's a little different, just because the availability of work is just, I mean, up here,
Right.
Every place has a patio.
Well, you want Paul Franks at your 4th of July party, or you want Paul Franks at your Labor Day thing,
Yep.
or your Memorial Day thing event, or a bike week event. When all these things happen, that people take time out for their families, and then there's like these heroes that play the gig. and then their wife is at home with the kids or something, going, yeah, or they're at the gig themselves.
Yep.
Who knows?
Yep.
But still, it's like, man, I mean, I just think it's easier to be one of these Guns N' Roses type bands where you're playing an hour and a half every night, and you have a couple nights off, and then you're in a nice cozy tour bus or whatnot. And I'm just saying, like, these local guys, man, it's just like everything's on them. I don't know if you have an accountant or things like that, but it's like it just seems like a lot more work. A lot of like, and Mike Neff was saying that it was a lot of like thankless work.
Oh,
You end up unsung in the long run, and then you go back to your regular everyday grind, or like, I don't know. It's just there's no time to reflect. My time of reflecting is going back to my job,
yeah. Yeah.
and getting told what to do, and
Yeah.
getting dirty,
Yeah.
and nobody gives a shit
Well-
what I did the weekend before.
Well, and there's a certain thing, if you make a steady diet of it, I mean, it's that ever popular, be careful what you wish for, Rob. I mean, this is something I always wanted to do and just had been in a place where I could build it up to that certain thing. But, make no bones about it. I can get done and have a stellar Saturday night, which playing that local gig at the Roundhouse is, you can end up on every Saturday night having anywhere between 300 and 400 people in there singing so loud you can't even hear your monitor mix on the stage anymore. And you kind of gave up a half hour ago trying to hear anything. And you're celebrated and everything else. And then, of course, everybody wants to go and take you out for a drink afterwards. And it's great and everything. But, half hour after I step off stage, I'm stepping on a boat and I'm getting off the island.
Yeah.
Because just over time, the idea of just going and hooting and hollering all night, it's it's
taxing.
not. Yeah, it's not what I can't physically do it anymore. But I also treat it like a job. And somebody was just asking, a friend of mine I went to a guitar show with a few weeks back, as he was asking me about it, he's like, so how do you square this? Is this is this just this fun time sometimes? I'm like, no, it's a job. My hours are weird, and there's a lot of thankless stuff, but do my Saturday night and have this great raucous crowd and a whole lot of fun, and then Sunday afternoon I'm out there mowing the lawn, just like everybody else.
Yep.
And nobody knows what I just did.
Yeah.
A few people do. A few people I might have saw Saturday night, or a few people that come out pretty often, but no. But if I have to sit here and think, well, is that what I'm in it for? I'm in it for the glory,
the gratification.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And much like what you would say, a lot of people, I think, treat music as therapy in a lot of ways, and there's different divisions on that. That's my therapy, and my happy place is being on that stage in front of that crowd and trading the energy back and forth. My uncomfortable place that I don't like is after the gig when I have to be in that crowd. That makes me not feel very comfortable at all. And it's a continual sort of fight between those two places. Yeah. So how can I maximize the stage time and minimize the other time? Because it is also about relationship building, just like any sales job is. So what we essentially do as musicians is we have to get to know the people that come out to see us and form those relationships and bonding.
Right.
And I'm at the age I am now, I've never been very good at it. I still don't think I'm very good at it. I can perform, and I know I'm good at that. I know I can sing certain songs and play certain songs, but the rest of it still sort of escapes me.
Right.
Like, I know people that just, they're animals. You get them up on a stage, and the same guy that was up on stage is the same guy that comes out in the crowd and hangs out and just, he'll run the town with you that night. I mean, he will just be there for everything. And maybe in my 20s and even my early 30s, I would do a little bit more of that. But at the age I am now, it's my job, and I'm done working. And just like everybody else wants to go home, I just want to go home sometimes.
Oh yeah.
So
absolutely.
So that is the part that it's you're constantly at odds with those two things. For me, anyway.
Yeah. I get the why are you here? You should go to LA, or you should go to this place.
Yep.
And it's like, well, I'm going to be doing the same thing there. And I'm going to need, like, I could only do so much as far as, like, what I could promote myself day in and day out and be online and do social networking as much as I can. And that's fine and dandy. But you start, I don't know, you be overzealous. And there's a lot of times where I've even been like, man, I've gotten the same request from this dude that he's playing a gig. I'm going to see you play. It's okay. You play so much, I'll check it out and I'll ignore those requests as like a regular consumer. And I'm like, and I know that's what people are doing.
Yep.
And it's when people say that, I'm like, oh, you need to do this and you should do that, and I'm like, well, then I don't know. Help me out. Share something. I don't know. Like if you see me post something, share it. It really does take those people. You know, It takes other people to help you out, and that's what I can see how people get discouraged in the first hump. I don't know. Then again, with the internet, there's so much content out there, but then the good stuff does shine through. And but like about going back to gratitude and why I play it. Am I playing for gratitude? Kind of. I got to the point where I was. I started playing. I was like, I'm not getting as much gratitude as I would like, and what I thought I'd be getting at this point.
Yep.
So I'm like, you get discouraged, and then you just go back and kind of doing this now. Now I could try to show my gratitude for people like you or anybody else and get on the show and like play a song, and I don't know, I'll get some views and maybe I'll tell some jokes, and whoever I am, I have no idea. But as long as I could give back to the people that hooked me up with gigs, or I know you've hooked me up with some gigs.
Well, I mean, we're all in this together, and I always kind of look at it as, especially the music scene, and it's changed so drastically. I started in this area in 91 or 92 when I first moved here. So I've been playing out in this area since 91, and in various forms, various bands, and it wasn't until I decided to make a real full push back to go into it in 2007 to just do this solo full time. And I just, the funnier part about it is I can't tell you how many people I was on Facebook before, and I took about a 5-year break and I got back on. But before then, and even now, I'll get a message every so often, and it'll be the same message. Hey, I want to do what you're doing. I want to play solo shows. I want to, how do I do that? I'm like, just get some cards, get a repertoire, about 40, 50 songs, go out, meet people, and the rest just kind of happens. But it's about relationship building.
Yeah.
And we're salesmen. I mean, you know this. You've been a singer probably longer before you were even in bands. You've been a singer.
Yeah.
And when I met you, you would come in and sit in with us and do a couple songs. You had original songs back then.
Right.
And I was just like, man, that guy can sing. And he's a good songwriter. Man, I got to go home and practice. So that's my deficit, is anytime I see something that I really admire or I think is great, my first response is I can appreciate it, but the very first thought in my mind is, man, I got to go home and practice.
Oh yeah, there's almost I wouldn't say a competitiveness nature, but that would be kind of like the Beatles did, and what Pink Floyd would do with the songwriting. It was kind of like that. The Seattle scene was like that. I always dreamt of a scene like that. Cleveland and this around here. It got to where you got to play what the people want. You got to play the cover songs, and it is that way.
Yep.
And I grew up so stubborn, where it's like I'm writing my own music and doing this, and I was in the wrong area for that. And it was I was so envious of that scene, that type of Seattle scene where artists are bouncing off of each other and creating their own music, and being like, wow, that band did that song. That's pretty good. And then we do something. Oh, we sound just like that, or if not better than that, in a weird, and then go on tour. Not like competing, but like that drive to make you do better when you see somebody else, perform. And I was always envious of that, like those romanticize those Seattle scenes like Nirvana and like Temple of the Dog or something like that.
Yeah, two huge bands just getting together, writing some songs, and not competing with each other, but helping each other rise up. And it's also that thing about the people that you surround yourself with. And look, the musicians I've known over the years, there's some really good ones, there's some really good stand-up ones, but there's some ones that are less than favorable. And there's a lot of them that I've met that they stay around with you. They're in your circle for a while, and there's some that drift in and drift out. There's some that they do take the plunge and they go to Nashville or they go to LA, and I've known those guys too. And it doesn't mean the same thing for everybody. And my whole spiel with this was always, I kind of aspired to be the blue collar musician. And if that means cover musician, that's fine. I really haven't aspired to write much. I have some songs, but I don't like them. So I'm always convinced that I don't want to necessarily put the recordings down. I just have, stacked with a few demos and things like that. But I have been venturing out the last few winters, going to some of the singer-songwriter nights. There's one that I really like. I met, what's his name? Brent Kirby. It's Brothers Lounge. And they do one every Wednesday night called the 10 by 3. And it's 10 artists, 3 songs. Preferably you're doing 3 original songs, but 2 originals and a cover, whatever. But it is such a inspiring night because you just go up there, and I'm just by myself most of the time. I come over to the islands every Saturday, and so Put in Bay, Kelly, stuff like that, once or twice a week, all summer. I don't bring. There's never people with me. It's just me showing up. I got a guitar strapped on my back and a shoulder bag, and just plug into what's there and just roll. So it's really like efficient. And I ride the Jet Express to my gigs every week, and it's like taking the bus. It's become that.
Yeah.
That sort of commonplace. But it definitely gives you a weird view of things. But I'll tell you, this winter I made it a point that I messaged Brent not that long ago because he asked me a question about something, and I said, hey, I promise I will be at a 10 by 3. It's been like 3 years. I will be at one this winter. I promise you. I am working on songs, and I do want to come up there because the last few times I've gone, it's just a nice night, and it's a bunch of guys I've never heard of, and guys of varying degrees in Cleveland that it's like you never know what you're going to run into. You never know what you're going to find. You never know who's going to be that next guy that's going to come up, and that first note that he hits you with, you're just going to be like, wow, I got to go home and practice.
Yeah, well, I kind of wanted to do this. This is like therapy to me. I grew up with a speech impediment. I had a lisp, strong lisp, so everything is conscious about how I pronounce my words, even just for this, talking into this microphone. And but I wanted to get inspired again, too, because I've been, like, slacking on the weekends, and I picked up DJing gigs and stuff like that, and those are actually harder for me because they're so unforgiving to the audience. If like something happens and your Japanese, Chinese equipment goes like on the fritz, and like they don't forgive you for that. Like when you're playing your acoustic guitar, it's like a string breaks. They're like, oh, it's because a string broke, or like I requested a song and he didn't have the words for it and he didn't know the whole song, but he was able to pull off the chorus. That's awesome, cool. And it's so forgiving. People are, accepting and like, okay, cool, play another one, and then they hang out. But DJing, man, dude, there's some horror stories. People don't even care. I've heard of DJs getting their like just a drunk girl getting mad and pouring her drink on the soundboard.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Well, I use a Bose stick mainly, and they're durable, but they're fragile. And a friend of mine that's a DJ used to use a pair of them or 3 of them to do weddings. Well, one time when he was there, some girl thought it'd be a great idea to grab the stick like it was a stripper pole
Yeah.
and start wailing on it. And that socket just cracked inside of it, and
Yeah.
it's all over. And he's like, I just couldn't believe that she would even think that that was something you could do.
Yeah.
And he goes, I just stood there for a minute, and he goes, yeah, what are they, like $3,500? Yeah, about that. Yeah, that was an expensive weekend.
Oh, man.
And he goes, I had to send all the stuff back, and it was a pain, but you know, it happens. And people don't want excuses when you're doing entertainment of any regard. But like what you said, if you're playing live, there's a little more forgiveness curve there. I think they're a little bit more understanding because you're just doing this. And I've been trying to simplify. So I know guys that have, they have a huge pedal board and they have maybe an additional looper and then maybe a couple other little things that they integrate, or they'll do a drum thing and loop that, and then and it's impressive, and I think it's great. There's a market out for everything. I just can't quite do that, and every time I try, I just get off sequence with my looper and stuff like that. So it's just like, I'll put this away for a while again. Maybe I'll get it out in a couple years when I really want to spend some time with it. But I just literally do my singing and my guitar playing with nothing. I plug directly in. Everything I need is inside the Bose.
Yeah, that's how I always did it. It was it seemed, I don't know, less to work with. I was more comfortable being super stripped down. That way, when anybody yelled at me, I could be like, "Hey, it's just me and the guitar over here. What do you want from me?" Like, if I have all these awesome, fancy lit up buttons and stuff, people tend to be like, "What are you gonna make it do?"
Yeah. What do you do with all that stuff?
What do you do with all this stuff? Oh, you got out of off beat. You went off beat, man.
Yeah. I mean, look, I don't expect anybody that doesn't do this kind of stuff for a living to understand any of it. And speaking to your point about, therapeutic, there's some therapy involved in performance. And having a conversation with some people a few weeks back, we're supposed to be the happy hour person in a way. Like, everything should be cheerful and to a certain extent, yeah, that's what we're there to do.
Until somebody knocks your microphone into your teeth.
Like 4 times. Yeah. That's always a great night. Yeah, I remember a couple of Mr. Show gigs like that.
Yeah. Man. And then you try to kung fu around those moments, and because you don't want to be a party pooper.
Nope.
And because you are the party at that moment. You're creating the music, and then something like that happens, and you're like, man, I told this dude 3 times, and he's backing up into the mic, and it's just smacking me in my mouth.
Yep.
Like, oh, man.
Well, I had a conversation with somebody a while back, and we were talking about the good time. Because, you play 6 nights in a row, and probably out of 5 of those nights, somebody's like, you've already played 20, 30 minutes more than what your time was, but one more song. Oh, you're a party pooper. Yeah, I am. That's what I just tell. Yeah, I am, but I got to get home.
I like it when I'm DJing. I'll be wrapping up cables and taking speakers off, and the lights are turning on, and chicks like, "You're done? Can I hear one more?" I'm like, well, I unplugged everything.
Well, there's the touch tunes right over there.
Yeah, the touch tunes.
Pop that in. That'll be good for you.
Yeah, or it's like 5 minutes left. They're like, can they move the pool table? I'm like, I'm about to go.
Yeah.
I'm about to leave. Do you want the pool table moved so you could dance? Let's get these pussies popping, baby. I'm like, geez, all right. So that's why I do appreciate those the fact that I'm able to grab gigs the way it's just it turns into a monetary value at that moment, and a lot of playing ended up turning into that, and that's what I don't want it to be that way. I know it's that way for anybody that especially it becomes a job, and it has to be that way. And but yeah, this is definitely for me to be around people that because I barely ever get to see you, and I was like, man, awesome. Paul Franks can come in, we could hang out, we could talk about music, light up a fire under me again, And if anything, that's what this is for. This is for that, and it's for my just to be able to talk better to people.
Yep.
And I'm 35 and I should have this done, but you go out in the world and you see really age don't matter. And then there's always people that's been hung up, or they had a job, or they got married and then they got divorced, and that whole time they could have been learning a different trade or doing something else to advance, or work on, like, whether or not they have a speech impediment, they could have been working on it, or communicating with other people, they could have been working on something like that. And that's pretty much what I'm trying to do. And even though I've been out in the world and talked to people and I've played before, it's still this is something totally different. This is like online. People are going to look at the video and look at me talking to you and be like, oh, now I got to, and this is probably going to be just straight up unedited, like just split screen thing, probably what I'll do. But yeah.
Well, for you, I mean, this is also a little bit of a journey of self-discovery. Because
oh yeah, absolutely.
You're definitely putting yourself out there to say, okay, I'm going to host a podcast. How do I do that? You figure out the mechanics and you get your studio set up, and I think it looks great. I mean, I saw the first 2 episodes that you posted, and I was like, wow, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I mean,
3 weeks old. This is the 3rd week.
3 is my lucky number.
It's a 3-week fetus. So in Ohio, I could still abort it at any moment. So we'll see.
Careful what you wish for.
Yeah, let's see if I can keep it growing. Though. But yeah, actually, it's been 26 minutes. I'd like to keep, since my upload speed sucks, and I've been saying this every episode. I think I said it until I get like Spectrum or something.
Yes.
My upload speed is awful. I think it takes like an hour every 5 minutes. It's awful. But yeah, we'll if you want to play a song for us, that'd be great.
We could do that.
Awesome. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Paul Franks is going to perform something for us. The world's okayest guitar player and singer.
Well, we'll let them. The jury's out. We'll let them figure that one out.
He's okay. If I know it or if I feel rambunctious, I'll play tambourine with you.
All right.
Day we sweated out on the streets, a runaway American dream. At night we ride through mansions of glory, suicide machines, sprung from cages out on Highway 9. Chrome wheel fuel injected, stepping out over the line. Whoa, baby, this town rips the bones from your back. It's a death trap, it's a suicide rap. We gotta get out while we're young. Tramps like us, baby, we were born to run. Born to
that's how we do that.
All right. Hell yeah. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Rob. That was awesome. All right. That was awesome. That was our week. All right, guys. Check him out, guys. World's Okayest guitar player and singer Paul Franks. Paul Franks Music, Instagram, Twitter. Look him up. Check him out sometimes at a bar venue near you. Put in Bay will be up and popping again next year, probably, right? For you?
Yep. Just did Whiskey Light Sunday. So they shut it down. So we've only got, I don't know, April 19th. I think they'll be open again. So
all right.
Sweet.
Anything coming up very soon?
Let's see. Wednesday night, Kokomo's at the Keys in Huron. Saturday night, the Orchard Bar in Catawba Island. I could not think of it to save my life. Both shows around 6:30.
Awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Peace. We out of here. Play some music out, I guess.
Sweet. I like outro music.
How do I do this? Later.
Charlie's.